Oftentimes when people share things with me, I wonder why me? Why am I receiving this information? So when I opened my email weeks ago and I received an email titled abuse and I began to read and weep, I wondered why me? I immediately reached back out to this woman and I had so many questions and she provided the answers. And over weeks of communication, I did my final question to her and I said, "Are you sure you want me to share this story?" She says, "Baby, I've never been more sure of anything." I'm going to read an email from this woman who does not want to speak publicly or be seen. She's not ready for that yet, but she is ready to release something that she's kept in for almost 40 years. And at 58 years old, she wants to discuss it in an attempt to help save someone or shed light on a situation that's often not discussed. This is her email. When my father died at 5, I had no idea that years later, my sister's father, my stepfather, would also be my abuser. Over the years, I wondered why me. Over the years, I've kept this secret, and I remember the note that I wrote and left in his casket when he passed away 8 years ago. I still celebrate his birthday with my sisters, and my conversation to my mother, when I finally told her later on in life in my 30s after being a mother myself, she simply responded, "We're not going to talk about that." And I knew then I would never bring it up. I would never mention it to my sisters. This is a family secret that I would have to keep. Over the years since the abuse, I went through every change imaginable. I went through a period in which I was extremely promiscuous. I went through a period in which I lied about everything. I went through a period in which I cut school and was angry. I went through a period in which I was extremely depressed and suicidal. I went through a period in which I hated women, which was odd to me because a woman did not do this to me. It was him. But looking back, I know that I was angry at my mother because how did you not know? How did you bring this man into my life? Why didn't you protect me? So I took that out on other women and I would befriend them and do some of the most horrible things. I didn't trust women. And I know that that was because of my mother. When I first met my husband, he actually stopped dating me because after a year and a half, he asked me, "Where do you live?" And it was in that moment that I realized that I was guarded. Here I have someone that can potentially be a good man, but I didn't know how guarded I was. And it wasn't until 4 years later when our paths crossed again, in which I began to let down my walls. And I'm so thankful. I'm so thankful for over 10 years, children, a home. I'm so thankful that I decided to let that pain go and let my now protector love me. My stepfather, I battled and questioned myself because I thought, do I have a crush on my stepdad? Because he was so cool. He was so handsome. He was so nice to me. He knew all of the latest trends. He knew all of the lingo. He was not a dad. He was like a brother or a best friend even. The compliments he would give me, I felt so special. Being called baby girl, or when he would refer to me as little mama, or when I would help mom with dinner and I would make his plate and he would pat me on my back. I didn't know what he was doing. I didn't know until that day he picked me up from school at 14. And the entire ride home, his hand was down my pants and I sat there confused, shocked. We exited the car and I didn't say anything. I went in my room. I took off my pants, my underwear, and I threw them in the trash. That was the first of many. And looking back, I remember when Mom went shopping for my first training bra, and I'll never forget the little strawberries that it had on it. But for whatever reason, he was the one that gave me the bag and took it out of the bag. Looking back, I can see that was his sickness. I can see that was him being disgusting. But at the time, I thought, how cute. Look what he got for me. My sisters never understood our relationship. In fact, they would be angry with me because they thought that I was his favorite. From swimming to cooking to movie night, he would always place me by him. I can still smell his cologne from time to time. I can still remember the first time. I can still remember the last time. But what replays over in my mind, even as a woman approaching 60, if God sees fit, I wondered why me? Over the years, I would hurt men who were nice to me because I remember how nice he was to me. I remember how special he made me feel. I remember each hug, each celebration. So as I aged, when men would compliment me, it would send me into a fit of rage. I became abusive. I'll never forget my first relationship in my 20s. It lasted 2 years, but I would assault him. It's so funny because years later, we attend the same church and I apologize and ask God to forgive me. This is just a portion. It's so much I have to tell you, my dear, and so much that I'm going to tell you, but I had to speak. I wanted to help someone. And I wanted to use your voice to do so. I tell my daughters now, if something feels off, then it's off. I don't have all the answers or what to look for, but I can remember how nice he was. That I will never forget. And I can't stress enough, my dear, if something seems off, then it's off. We'll talk later. My chatters, that is a woman's tale. I thank her for sharing. I thank you for watching. And hopefully I did her story some justice. And in her words, if something feels off, then it's off. Protect our babies. Make sure to like, comment, follow, and subscribe.